My name is Coach Tyler. I'm a student at Logan College of Chiropractic here in Missouri. I have coached over 4,000 classes across the state of Indiana and in Missouri, and I'm here to talk to you today about sleep. So sleep is one of the most important things you can do for recovery. It's something that everybody does and everybody needs. In fact, only 1 in about 4 million people can function successfully without getting at least 6 hours of sleep or more. While you're sleeping, what your brain is doing is essentially taking a bath. You have cerebral spinal fluid that flows through your meninges. It cleans out all the metabolites. It helps the neurons to function properly, which is going to aid with learning, cognition. It's going to help stabilize your mood, and it's going to make you a more productive human being. If you have sleep deprivation, if you're going to an early morning Orange Theory class without getting the required amount of sleep to perform, you're actually going to have a faster time to fatigue. I'm sure you felt it. But scientifically, what's happening is lactate and hydrogen ions are building up in your muscle cells a lot faster than they ordinarily would, and that's going to reduce your rate of power output. So you're not going to be able to perform as well as you would like, you're not going to burn as many calories as you'd like, and you're not going to build as much muscle as you'd like. Sleep not only is going to help with cognitive functioning and power output, but it's going to help your body to recover and to build lean muscle tissue, which is going to make you leaner, stronger, and faster as you want to be. There are 2 big factors that regulate your sleep. The first one we're going to talk about is adenosine. Adenosine is your sleepy chemical. So adenosine builds up as your day progresses, and when you sleep, it gets cleaned out. It gets washed out with that cerebral spinal fluid. One of the best ways that we can explain adenosine is through the use of caffeine. The way that caffeine works is it comes in and it blocks the receptors for adenosine in your brain. So caffeine doesn't actually give you any extra energy. It just inhibits your body from feeling tired. While this is happening, adenosine is still building up in your body. So when the caffeine starts to wear off, you get a big flush of adenosine back into your system, leading to the crash that you feel. Caffeine is also important with your sleep cycle. It's important that you don't drink caffeine too early or too late in the day. If you have caffeine between the first hour of waking up, between the hours of 12 and 1, or between the hours of 5:50 and 6:30 p.m., you're actually doing your body a disservice. Between those 3 distinct time periods, your cortisol levels are at an all-time high. And caffeine will also raise your cortisol levels as well. So if you have cortisol on top of cortisol, it puts your body into a negative feedback loop. Your body will then start shutting down its natural production of cortisol, and you become more reliant on caffeine to produce that stimulus. That'll build up a tolerance, and it'll also build up a dependence on caffeine. So the earlier you have caffeine, the more you're going to need it. And this is something that happens over time. If it's just a one-off thing where you have caffeine because you're feeling really tired and you need a pump, that's fine. If you have it every single day, it's probably time to start toning it back a little. Maybe consider using tea as an alternative. It's also important to know that caffeine has a 5-hour half-life. So if you drink caffeine past the hour of 2 p.m., you might struggle to fall asleep, or you might struggle to get into the deeper or the REM sleep that's going to make your body feel refreshed when you wake up. If you have 100 milligrams of caffeine around 2 p.m., that means around 7 to 8 p.m., you're going to have about half of that remaining in your system, about 50 milligrams, which also means between 12 to 1 a.m., you're going to have about half of that, 25 milligrams. So having caffeine later than 2 p.m. is almost like drinking a quarter cup of coffee right before going to bed. The second main regulator of your sleep cycle is your circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is going to be directly linked to the rising and the setting of the sun. It's very important to view the sun at sunrise and to view the sun at sunset. Viewing the sun at sunrise is going to stimulate a cascade of events that's going to set your circadian rhythm. The ganglion cells in your retina are going to send a signal to your suprachiasmatic nucleus saying, hey, it's time to wake up. And that's going to send a signal to your pineal gland to release melatonin within the next 12 to 14 hours. So having that light in your eyes is going to set a cycle of events that's going to help aid you with falling asleep later on. It's also important during sunset to go outside within the first hour of sunset and view the sun, so that same cycle is going to be reinforced. That same concept applies with the light that you're viewing throughout the day artificially. So as we developed, we were exposed to lights by a variety of different things. We had moonlight, we had firelight, but none of those lights affect our eyes and our circadian rhythm the way that our overhead lights do in our office, in our house, and by using our computers and our touchscreen phones. Some of you may have blue light blockers already in the form of computer glasses. Those are great for during the day, but at night, those are not going to do much for you. Instead, consider buying some of these bad boys. Very stylish, and they're going to block the wavelengths that you need to help fall asleep. Consider wearing these within 1 to 2 hours close to bedtime. They're going to block the wavelengths of 400 to 550 nanometers. So you're going to get a little bit of blue light, but you're also going to get a little bit of green light as well. These are not going to be the ideal for wearing during the day. You want to be awake during the day. You want to fall asleep at night. So these will help to regulate that cycle. Another thing that you can do is at home, instead of having overhead lights using blue lights, consider using a table lamp or lights that are lower to the ground. That'll help to signal essentially an artificial sunset that your brain is going to perceive, and it's going to tell your brain and the suprachiasmatic nucleus, okay, it's time to calm down and fall asleep. So not only dimming the lights, but also blocking the amount of light you're receiving by using blue light blockers will really help you with your sleep quality and quantity. Our next tip is going to be about temperature. The best and ideal temperature for sleep is going to be between 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. If you like to sleep with a thicker blanket or a heavier blanket, you might want to lower your temperature down a little bit to the lower end of the spectrum. If you have a lighter blanket or sleep with lighter clothes on, you can probably have your temperature on the higher end of the spectrum. Your body needs to naturally have its temperature drop by 1 to 3 degrees for you to fall asleep and get into better, deeper quality sleep. Another tip that you can add on to that to help your body regulate its temperature is to take a warm bath or a warm shower before bed. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it's going to help your body to compensate. By going into that hot water, your body's going to have to naturally cool itself down, lowering its temperature, aiding with your sleep production. If you have the ability to take a nap throughout the day, which not a lot of us do, it might be beneficial to help boost your memory, your learning, and your energy levels. The ideal nap is going to be less than 90 minutes. Typically between 20 to 30 minutes for your power nap is going to be your biggest bang for your buck. But it's going to keep you from going into that REM sleep, but you're still going to get the recharge that you're looking for. If you're able to take a nap, but you have trouble coming out of a nap, a tip for that would be what I call a nappuccino. Consuming about 50 to 100 milligrams of caffeine directly before taking your nap is going to trigger a cascade of events. One, you fall asleep because the caffeine takes about 30 minutes to kick in. When you wake up from your 20 to 30 minute nap, the caffeine is kicking in and you're naturally going to have energy from the caffeine. So it's a perfect blend of caffeine and sleep, and it's going to provide a big kick of energy. If you're not able to take a nap throughout the day, you might be able to take one on the weekend. But if that doesn't work for you, consider non-sleep deep rest. One example of non-sleep deep rest is meditation. You can use a mobile app, there's tons of them out there, or you can find a nice quiet spot, a dark spot, somewhere in your office or around your room, and just close your eyes for 5 to 10 minutes and think about nothing. Maybe listen to some light music, but relax. That'll give you a sudden surge of energy and help you to become more productive. Now that we understand the science of sleep and how all the chemicals are working in our body, let's come up with a sleep routine. Number 1, try to wake up and fall asleep every day at the same time, even on the weekends. As soon as you wake up, view bright light, go out and see the sun if you're able to, and try to avoid caffeine within the first hour of waking. You also want to go outside toward the last hour of day as the sun is setting and avoid caffeine too late in the day. Try not to drink caffeine past 2 p.m. Bright lights are great for during the day, but at night, we want to dim our lights and probably put them at a lower setting, closer to the floor if possible. The bright lights are going to stimulate wakefulness. The soft, dim lights and using blue light blockers will help you to calm down and do the opposite of wakefulness so you can fall asleep easier. If you're having trouble falling asleep, change the temperature of your room somewhere between 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And another powerful tip you can use is to take a warm shower within 1 to 2 hours before bed. If you struggle with racing thoughts, consider a journal, writing out all of your thoughts that you're feeling from the day, or write down everything that you have planned for the next day so you're not laying in bed thinking about it. If you need an extra midday pick-me-up, take a nap. Naps are great between the hours of 1 and 3 after your natural cortisol levels have elevated and started to drop down. Try not to take naps later in the day. Try to keep your naps under 90 minutes. If you're not able to take a nap, consider using non-sleep deep rest methods such as meditation, journaling, or just relaxing with your eyes closed in a dark, quiet room. Thank you for tuning in. Now go apply some of these tips to your life to make this transformation challenge not just 8 weeks long, but an eternity. Hopefully at least one thing has stuck out to you that you can apply right now that will enhance your life immensely.